This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 96 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
The
One
word-
month. Woo woo.
One month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're down
we're
to, and then we're at 100.
Yeah, and then we'll keep going. So
Of course.
we're not going anywhere. We've got a lot to get into. We're going to get into your comments from episode 95 on the Zillow Unlock notes. So if you didn't watch episode 95, go back and do that. We've got a drive-by shooting to get into, right? And some quarter 3 funding updates from directly from Swanepoel, T360.
I feel like I will sleep through that one.
I don't think so. That's
No?
going to take the place of the Marketeer. But let's get into the Zillow Unlock comments on episode 95. We're not going to go through all the comments, but we'll go through at least a couple of them, starting off with
You can't wait.
Kakoa Mansafa. If I butchered your name, I apologize,
you
but that's not the
did.
easiest name
You
of all
did
time.
butcher it.
Well, what is it then?
I'm not even going to pretend to know. It's too far away. I can't see it.
I feel like I'm close. But
Look,
anyways,
he edited it, though.
what I liked about the comment here is he time-stamped what he was talking about. So 5 minutes, 6 seconds. He says, actually, it's First American and CoreLogic that have all the most juicy real estate data. This was coming off of me saying Zillow, in Zillow's words, has the most data. And so, to his point, he says CoreLogic and First American, they've been around long before Zillow. Zillow figured out how to monetize it from the consumer-centric side as opposed to the Genesis.
No.
The geniuses.
Oh,
the
there
geniuses.
it is. I was just
You're
waiting.
waiting for me to do something.
I was waiting.
The geniuses of NAR who only gave a damn about the pay relevance of their realtor member commissions. Okay, so we're not going to get into that, but we are going to get into who has more data. And I was basically reading off verbatim what Zillow's saying. Hey, we've got the most data in the real estate industry. I said on episode 95, I believe them. I think that it is the truth when it comes to one segment of data. Consumer-centric data, consumer behaviors.
Well, he sort of, he says that.
Yeah,
He agrees with you there.
I think he does. And I commented, hey, when I'm talking about Zillow, I
Yeah.
mean consumer data. Like we were talking about
Well,
Rich Barton saying people will go into these homes that they have listed as a Zillow listing up to 15
He's really
times without
talking
an
more,
agent.
but he's really talking more about consumer habits. How quickly do they want answers? How many agents will they go through? I mean, getting into a house as quickly as possible. Like those types of. I mean, there's certainly. I mean, and they clearly have data on solds and pre-foreclosures and foreclosures. But I do agree here with our buddy. Mustafa?
Because here's the one, not Mustafa, Mansafa. But here's the thing, Mansafa. They're not, CoreLogic doesn't have data on how many people before they list the house will go onto Zillow and look at their estimate and look at their page.
Yeah.
For the 14 days leading up before they ever even call an agent once.
Right. So I guess maybe when we use because he said most juicy real estate data, I'm certain we said that. I'm certain we said juicy because I just
we didn't
feel like that's super appropriate for us. So again, I guess it's sort of in like the linguistics of it. Like,
juicy to who? CoreLogic's data might be juicier to an agent or a real estate professional, but a consumer, they're sharing the most data with Zillow right now. 3 out of 4 buyers or just consumers or people looking at real estate listings are using Zillow. So,
which in this situation, I feel like maybe agents, I guess in this topic, they're more concerned with because it's about leads.
Yeah.
So
I think we're both right. I think when we're talking about Zillow, we're more right.
Wow. Right. Just keep commenting, though, please. Hope
Please
that doesn't scare you away.
Hopefully that didn't scare you. Melanie, hey, big fan of Melanie. She's been following the show for quite some time. We love you, Melanie. So I'm going to preference that before I get into your comments, which you didn't reply back to my replies, Melanie. But so Melanie starts off with lab coats under the bus, ... Interesting. I'll pause there. Wasn't throwing lab coat under the bus, but I was certainly throwing the agents under the bus that are complaining in the comment section of lab coats, which you see on a variety of posts, people getting into the comment section and complaining as opposed to conversing about what's happening in our industry. People just throwing out like headline type of opinions instead of having a conversation. So it's the complaining, Melanie, that I'm throwing completely under the bus. There's a ton of entitlement in real estate from the agent side. There's a ton of complaining going on, and not a lot of actually digging into what the hell is going on in our industry.
With the drive-by shooting, for sure.
We'll get into the drive-by in a little bit. Problem with Melanie with Zillow scheduling for her on her first appointment. One of her issues was there was an issue with the seller. It wasn't her. It was the seller. Absolutely, I get that. You got to have these things approved. So, hey, I'm gonna approve your showing pending confirmation from the seller because this is a home that somebody lives in.
Well, obviously, I feel like in that situation, you would just make the appointment and then say, hey, like, I'll get back to you if it doesn't work. And then if it doesn't work for your seller, find out 2 other times that does work for your seller. So you can at least go back to that buyer and be like, hey, listen, I tried really hard to get you in tomorrow at 1, doesn't work. How's tomorrow at 4 or 5? It works better for the seller. I'm going to
be getting back to you with a text message. The text message is going to say one of 2 things. One, it's going to be confirming our time that we've scheduled here today. Number 2, it's going to be a change of time options because the seller can't accommodate that change, right?
Or, you can even go a step further if it doesn't work for that seller. Maybe be like, hey, but I did find another house that's very similar to that one, and they were able to accommodate that 1 o'clock showing.
Exactly. So get that, Melanie. There's definitely going to be that issue with trying to set the showing up. And this is in reference, if you didn't go back to 95, to us saying, hey, someday if we're not able to provide this delightful consumer experience, Zillow is going to set the showing for us, and it'll be like an Uber app. You're either going to be on the money at that time during those 2 hours, ready to jump in your car and go, or you're not, and the next person up is going to get it. I do believe that's where this thing's kind of going on the buy side for sure. So then Melly goes on and says, also, this is where I'm going to have some feedback for you, Melanie.
Just be nice.
Also, what if I already have an appointment? Nobody cares. Even a Zillow appointment. Nobody cares what kind of appointment you have. I'm always about my client first, but the reality is there are more components than just the buyer. I'll pause there. Melanie, from a buyer's perspective, and this is where I'm going to coach you up, right? Take this as a coaching. Take this as feedback. If I was talking to my team right now, I'd say, hey, don't have an opinion about how I'm saying it or what I'm saying. Just know that this is stuff that you can use to better your business. So I'm coming at you as a coach right now.
Yeah, you're a coach.
I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. Nobody reach out to me for coaching services. They do not exist.
You don't want him as a coach.
You don't want me as your coach. But I do think this is good feedback. You had mentioned there's more components to the buyer. To the buyer, there are not more components. The buyer doesn't give a crap about anybody else. Seller, agents, appraisers, lenders, gatekeepers. They only care about them, their schedule, their needs.
What's super interesting, though, with that statement, though, too, is that I feel like the seller does really only care about the buyer as well, right? I mean, because if a seller is wanting, you need a buyer to come through.
A real seller who's committed to the process, who wants to be aggressive, will care about the buyer.
Oh my God, yeah. They're like, why are there no showings? And if they find out that you can't accommodate the buyer to get through their home.
Yeah. So Melanie says that she should not be, and this is her opinion, should not be penalized for, is it penalized or penalized?
I guess I think it's sort of like tomato and tomato, I guess, if you ever say tomato, but.
I always go with penalized.
I like penalized. I feel like
I
feel like it's like a
I figured
pinky,
you would like that one.
You know,
having an open house until 4 p.m. Why should she be penalized? If say they want the appointment at 4, if she can't schedule it to 4:45, and she writes at the end, "I want the appointment. Give me some room to work." No buyer out there is going to give you room to work. The industry, the consumer needs are not going to give individual agents room to adjust their schedule to what they want. This whole thing is over, guys. I'm telling you right now, buyers that call Zillow, as they continue to test, whether it's flex-based pricing or Zillow offers, people that call Zillow and want instant feedback, that want instant showings, are going to get it, and they're just going to find the people that can be in their car immediately and go show it to them, and they're going to skip over the people that want room. Individual agents out there, if you can't scale a business and build a real business where you have team members and people going out to accommodate this, you're going to have plenty of room. You're going to have room to do your nails. You're going to have room to go to soccer games. You're going to have room in your schedule to do everything except sell real estate, because somebody with a better system, with a better consumer experience is going to go and fill the gap, and Zillow is definitely going to give all the leads to that person. Well, and I love you, Melanie.
Coach
You're
Byron.
one of our favorites. Real worders, racketeers out there.
She's our favorite.
She is our favorite.
We can always count on her for a comment.
Do you want to go through any more of these comments?
Like maybe we're done. Melanie, it's been nice knowing you.
No, I don't think that at all. I think, Melanie, I'd love for you to follow up. I'll dig into more of this on episode 97 if you want to reply to the comments. Shoot me a DM. We talk directly anyway.
I do, but again, I will sort of help Melanie a little bit here though too, because you're the first one to tell our team to follow your calendar, to have a calendar, to set up a calendar, obviously to set up time for personal things. So I feel like part of it too, because there's many times that I've gotten Zillow calls. Luckily, it's on like a team rotary, and I know that I'm in my family time where I can't answer it and I don't want to, and I know what I'm losing by not answering it. And you also have to be sort of okay like with that too. Yeah. And I think that that's okay.
And I want to go back just a little bit, because people hear me say team. If you're not a team, you're going to lose. To me, a team is somebody who has 3 employees, maybe an individual agent. It's all of them. Maybe it's the Nicole White show, and she's got 3 full employees that are admins that are ready to, hey, just had the Zillow lead come in at 10:30. You need to go show them the property at 11. Like, you're an employee. Get in your car, like now.
Well, nicely,
like,
please.
Put the salad away and go. Like, let's rock and roll. You're on the clock. Like, I think there's a lot of ways. A Navy SEAL team, right? They call it a SEAL team, where you just have a small group of people that are all on the same page. A really industrialized team that's large numbers and it's almost operating like a brokerage. Or it's just you having some assistants that are ready to go. I don't believe with what the consumer wants, with an Uber experience that they're going to get in real estate over the next 5 to 10 years, I don't think there's room for individual agents. I think there'll be room for them to get a small percentage of the deals in a certain market, do referral work, have a nice little amount of income coming in, not a business. All right, racket number 2.
We're skipping Harry, but thank you for the comment, Harry.
Harry's got a great comment. There's some other comments in there. You can go to episode 95 on YouTube and check some of those out.
Just wanted to give a shout out.
Definitely want to give a shout out to Harry, and I think Harry will be joining us on episode 100 somehow. We're going to make that happen. Going to racket number 2. And because we've been talking about this so much, iBuying, what is it creating? It's creating some of these homes that are sitting vacant. Well, in Arizona here, just on Halloween, which was a few nights ago, there was an Arizona home that was hit in a drive-by shooting while it was listed on Opendoor. Of course, Opendoor buys homes, and then they relist them to the market. And those homes are sitting vacant. People have the opportunity to go through their app and through their technology to get access to the home without an agent.
So in this situation, though.
So this one, the home, which was sitting vacant again, was the site of a Halloween party. So these kids broke in there.
Well, they didn't break in.
Well, they didn't break in. They just went in. They were able to get in through Opendoor's app. And they threw a party. And then apparently somebody came in and was shooting the place up. And 5 of these teenagers were shot. I don't know. It looks like they were just all injured. Hopefully there was no
5 victims
that died in that. Would you have gone to this party if you were in high school and it was a Halloween Opendoor party?
100% would have been at that party.
Throwing it or attending it?
I don't know. So it's interesting because I probably, and it's funny though, because we've talked about Opendoor and the idea of this has never even hit me. So with that in mind, I probably wouldn't have been the one that thought of throwing the party, but I 100% would have been there.
And we're going to hear it.
And this probably wouldn't have been the first one. This was just the first one that had a drive-by shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear people say, see, Opendoor, it's not sustainable. They got these homes on the market. There's not an agent. They're vacant. I do think this is going to be something Opendoor and Zillow offers has to think about, like, what's our security measures behind these homes? Right. I mean, Rich Barton said it himself. There are buyers going into these Zillow-owned homes up to 15 times without an agent.
Yeah.
Obviously, the security measures on this particular Arizona home
weren't
that great. If they were,
no. I guess what's really
this might not have happened.
I feel like what's the most sad part about this is that there's neighbors here too. So this unfortunately is affecting a neighborhood as well. So they do need to keep it in mind. I mean, you're really sort of coming into a neighborhood. Again, I don't think that they're bad people. I mean, I think it could have happened anywhere. I mean, I've been to multiple parties in homes that weren't even vacant, but that had horrible things happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's good people and bad people, and there's going to be people that
and there's going to be children
figure
and kids,
this thing out. Oh,
teenagers.
I can get into this house easily, and throw a party.
Yeah.
So it's
this is like an upgrade from partying in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about what Opendoor is going to do in the future to correct this.
Well, they did, though. Maybe we should just say that they're ensuring the safety of our customers, our neighbors, and our communities is one of the most important things we do every day at Opendoor. So they did make obviously a comment.
That's such a empty statement. Everybody's going to say that the safety of all the people in the community and the consumers is something that is they're holding to the highest esteem. But here could be $1 million or $1 billion idea for Opendoor. When you go and get a hotel, what do? You get the hotel and they say, hey, I'm going to charge you $500. This is for incidentals and basically a deposit. You're also going to get charged your stay of 2 nights, $350 a night, $700.
Interesting though, but
so
that wouldn't make it frictionless. That wouldn't be a fun, frictionless.
Well, why wouldn't
experience.
Why wouldn't it be frictionless? If I've got an app, an Opendoor
because now
app,
I have to give you money. It has to be charged. It's going to take 2 days to come back to
my account. I've uploaded. If I'm a real buyer,
yes,
I've uploaded my credit card to my Opendoor app or my Zillow Offers app.
So you're only charged if something happens?
So I go into this house. Mm-hmm. I'm charged a $300 holding deposit or whatever it is, right?
But if you're going in 15 times, that means your account is being charged 300 times. Think of how, and then it takes at least 24 hours.
Am I going to go back? Like, there's ways to do this where you now can narrow this down to serious buyers and not a kid who doesn't have a credit card, right?
Okay.
The victims here, there was 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids. You didn't have a credit card where you could have gotten into this house.
I didn't, but I mean, there also weren't debit cards when I was 18, so.
Right. I mean, not to say that an 18-year-old couldn't.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would spend $300 to throw a party.
True that. Maybe it's got to be higher. All right.
Anyway, but it's a good idea. I mean, I'm sure that they have a full racket full of people thinking up what to do. But I do think that at the very least there should be video cameras. I think that would be the cheapest and most inexpensive route to go for these homes that are sitting vacant at the very least.
All right, so moving on, T360, Stefan Swanepoel, who does the T360 event every single year, puts out a ton of content. We'll be going through the 2020 trends when they come out in December. We'll be digging into some of that. But quarter three, as it ended, he sent out this week, or T360 sent out their quarter three 2019 year-to-date review on the total funding in real estate. So I think this is just good information for us to have.
It's the first 3 quarters or just the third quarter?
In the first three quarters of 2019, the total funding of $2.7 billion in the first 3 quarters of 2019 have already surpassed 2018 and 2017 by over 20%. Talked about it last week. You got to check out episode 94. I think that was a good one, where we said Rich Barton, CEO of Zillow, said real estate is still dramatically underinvested. And so just in 2018, 2017, we're still already 20% over that number here in 2019. iBuyer models, which we just talked about in the last segment, have really drove that. Let's go through here a snapshot of 2019 funding exceeding $50 million. Offer pads, $565 million, and these are all residential categories. There's a couple mortgage ones at the bottom. $565 million. Knock, $400 million this year. Compass, $370 million. Opendoor, $300 million. Perch, $220 million. Better Mortgage, Blender Mortgage, and then VTS had $90 million. That's a commercial. But the top, what is that? 5 funded companies
platforms,
were all residential categories. Only one of them, guys, was a traditional real estate brokerage in Compass. OfferPad, Knock, Opendoor, and Perch are not traditional real estate brokers. So you have this money coming in. I'm not saying all 4 of those in the top 5 besides Compass are going to work out. That's the brokers That's what the brokers are telling their agents right now. Oh, it's not sustainable. They're getting money. When you're spending $500 million a year like OfferPad, you've got the luxury of making some mistakes. You're going to figure some things out. This really highlights what we've been talking about on this show really since we started. Are you going to build a brand? Are you going to have the lead pillars in your local community that can support your name when there's all of these big money tech companies coming for your margin? Okay, if you're satisfied with going from 6 or 5 bananas down to a half a banana, and then just let it all happen.
I don't like bananas.
You don't like bananas. Cherries? Gumdrops?
Gumdrops.
Gumdrops. You like gum, right? If you're satisfied with your gum getting pinched from 6 down to 1, then just don't pay attention to stuff. Let it happen. If you're not, know about this stuff. Read about it. Understand how much money's coming in. Look at what features are working. Take those features and then build a brand that speaks to your local community that can also offer these features locally.
Or, you can even, if you're finding out that some of these things aren't working, educate your buyers, get out on your platform and start educating them as to why, you should be chosen over a Zillow or an Opendoor or what have you. So,
yeah, I mean, and you can see here, I don't know if you can see that little chart. We can put that chart up.
Look at you with your paper.
Put the chart up.
Loving it.
You can see in 2013, there wasn't a lot of money coming into this industry like there is today. 17, 18, and 19, just tons and tons of money coming into the system.
And what's really interesting is that it's, again, mostly residential. You would think, I feel like.
Yeah, residential.
I mean, all the money is in mortgage, but yeah. So, very interesting.
All right. I'd love to dig into more of the Zillow stuff. It's going to be something we continue to talk about. If you didn't go see 95, you want to check out those comments or leave a comment here on episode 96. Maybe another angle. Maybe we're looking at things from the wrong perspective and you want us to look at it a different way. Put that in the comments and we'd be happy to follow up on it again.
Or if you want Byron to be your real estate coach.
No, that's not an option. But you can DM me or ask me anything you guys want. I'm always happy to help. All right, guys. Keep it real. Melanie, I love you.
Bye, guys.